Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Sean McKay here, and just wanted to share a little idea today about what I'm doing with my investing. And for those of you that have built up rental portfolios to this point, you own rental properties currently. It's just a little something to think about. So, as you might have seen from the title, calling this one "I'm selling rental properties," but it's not what you think. And so, obviously, there's a lot of news out there that it's been such a crazy environment in every way, with COVID to political upheaval to everything happening in the world. It's just a wild time. There's all sorts of inflation, and there just seems to be a lot of confusion and a lot of borderline hysteria in a lot of ways out there today. And so when you see or hear someone say something like, "I'm selling assets," I think there's this assumption that they're selling assets because they think there's some crash coming, and kind of Michael Burry, The Big Short style. I'm prognosticating that things are going to get bad, or something unusual is around the corner. And the truth is, I have absolutely no idea, just like the rest of us, what is around the corner, and I'm okay with that. And so, when my wife and I kick around our ideas and where we're wanting to go with things, the thought for us is we're definitely going to be, I would say, selling rental properties in the very near future. And it's not because we think that necessarily real estate values are going to go down. It's very possible that by the time that values stall or pull back a little bit, we're at a much higher price point, and so we'll still end up at a much higher point even after the downturn than we are right now. We're really just thinking in terms of what we want our financial life to look like moving forward. And so ultimately, what we've decided is that we've been very fortunate to build a rental portfolio. And it seems like a good time to take inventory of the assets that we're currently holding. And because it is such a great time to sell, just to do what some would call pruning their portfolio. So it's not this, we're going to sell everything we own or we think anything's happening. It's just there are some properties that maybe I didn't make a good decision when we decided to buy them. Maybe the area is not as great as we thought it was. Maybe it's an area that hasn't improved, and we were hoping that it would improve when we bought the properties. Maybe it's a situation where we're looking for different types of properties. And so, specifically, as we look at our portfolio, we're looking at properties in areas that we're not quite as keen on. And so, trying to maintain a portfolio of properties that are in just kind of a better area, with the thought being, if it ever becomes difficult to rent properties, we would want to have the most desirable properties so that we can attract the best tenants possible. And another thing that we've discovered over the last few years is that as we look each year at how the properties perform, we find that we actually have better luck with our single family houses versus our small multifamily properties, our duplexes, our triplexes, things of that nature. And so for that reason, we're leaning more towards selling some of the smaller multifamily properties. And so that's going to be the first step for us. We're going to sell off properties. There's a lot of buyers out there for duplexes. Some people want to house hacks. They want to live in one unit and rent out the other unit. And that's a great strategy. And my wife and I actually did that when we first got married. And so we're going to sell off some of the properties that we're not really in love with. And then as we sit on that cash for a little bit, if we can't find some really incredible opportunities, we're actually going to pay off some of the remaining properties that still have a mortgage on them. Because for us, again, getting back to the idea of what we want our financial life to be, we're in a situation where we want to simply take some of the risk off the table. We want to not necessarily have to make mortgage payments moving forward. And at least for me, psychologically, I feel like you really start to get the benefit of cash flow rental properties when there's no longer a mortgage on the property. Psychologically, for me, even if it's a very small mortgage and the rents have gone up substantially, I still don't feel like we get a lot of spendable cash flow from our properties that still have mortgages on them. And so this isn't a timing situation. This isn't something where we think that we know something that other people don't know. And a lot of people are going to think that this is kind of a foolish decision because as we're seeing such incredible inflation, we're seeing the values of everything go up. And so to pay off great long-term 30-year fixed mortgages on paper, I would agree, is not a really intelligent thing to do. But as we look at our portfolio, we think if we have a baseline of properties that do not have mortgages, it can allow us to actually be more aggressive in the future with looking for additional investments because we find that we're in a situation where we feel very comfortable and confident with what we currently own. The big lesson that I learned from the 2008 financial collapse was that the people that were saddled with a lot of debt and a lot of problem assets and properties didn't feel like they could actually go on the offensive when it was a really great time to buy investments. So it's not to say that I think we'll have another 2008, but for those of you that are in the real estate investing world, you understand that even when times are great, there's still going to be those individual opportunities that you can take advantage of where you can buy properties at a discount. So it's really trying to bolster our portfolio so that we can actually be even more offensive in the years to come. So I wish you guys all well in your investing. Again, I understand that this isn't for everybody, and a lot of people might think that it's foolish in an inflationary time to pay off debt. But it's just kind of a personal decision for all of us with our investing and our finances. And we're just looking to kind of prune things up a little bit, get things nice and tight so that inevitably when we feel like there's an opportunity, we can move forward with it. So if you feel like this was helpful, please feel free to hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel, and we'll be pumping out a lot of information. Some of it might be good, some of it not so much, but hopefully you stay tuned for it. So thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.